Hey everybody, it's Christina from Redefine Creative, and I want to welcome you to a brand new series here on my channel called Once Upon a Time, Scrapbooking Layouts Inspired by Children's Books. And this week we are using this book called Charlie the Ranch Dog. And in this book, it is told from the point of view of Charlie the dog, the ranch dog, and everything he has to do during the day to make sure that his ranch runs. And I thought that it was one of my kids' favorite books, and it was such a cute take on a story that I thought it would be really fun to translate that into a scrapbooking layout. So if you have little kids at home and you haven't checked out the book, Charlie the Ranch Dog, you definitely want to because it is very cute. And I am going to create a layout based on it. So I have 3 pictures of our puppy Oreo, and they are all kind of businessy pictures. So this is going to be all about Oreo as the CEO. So we have one picture of him sitting like all big, bad, and professional in my work chair. And then we have one picture of him shredding tissue paper. And then we have another one of him attacking the bubble wrap. And so I am going to use the way this children's book was written to inspire how I am going to tell the story. So I'm going to leave those larger like photo mats at the bottom of the page so they almost look like a Polaroid, but like a skinny Polaroid. And that's where I'm going to do some of my journaling. And I'm going to journal in the style that the book used. And I'm super excited about this. I am super excited about this series because I really love the idea of creating layouts based on all these amazing children's books that exist. And hopefully it will push you guys' creative thinking in a little bit different direction. So I have some pattern paper here that is all very geometric that I am kind of layering up. And I want to throw this black and white like houndstooth print in there as well, just because I think that plays really well with my photo. And I wanted to use this ledger paper as my background because I feel like that really reinforces this like work idea. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of line up my 3 photos. So we've got him as the CEO, we've got him with the tissue paper, and then him with the bubble wrap. And that's kind of like the shipping order almost. And so that's kind of how our journaling is going to end up looking on this particular layout. So I did pull out some Pink Fresh Studio Some Days ephemera, and we're going to use some of that. But I'm creating these really bold lines right now, and that's kind of my goal so far. I really wanted to have the title be CE Oreo. So it's like CEO, but for Oreo. And I end up, you'll see with my title that I end up putting in the whole CEO because I felt like it was just a little bit too like, I don't know, almost confusing. So once I have these lined up, I'm going to arrange some embellishing. And I felt like I needed a little bit more pattern paper for some reason. So I had this 6x6 paper pad that was sitting on my desk. So I just grabbed this red text and then this stripe. And I'm going to add 2 little sections of each one of those. And I really love how that seems to kind of pull everything together. So for some reason, it just wasn't feeling finished with the 3 layers that I had. And once I add these pattern paper strips, I feel like that really kind of builds up the layering that I have going on. And this is why I don't often like glue everything down completely until I'm done, because sometimes part of my creative process is that I need to keep playing around and adding more stuff, creating more layers, doing all the things. Are you guys like that? Like, do you change up your design as you go? Or do you go into a layout knowing like, this is where I'm headed, this is what I'm going to do? Or do you give yourself that creative freedom to kind of change it up as you go? I'm just curious. So I have this die cut that says, "Hello, my name is," and I thought that would be really cute on here because this is kind of like a work page. And there's this little laptop that I know that is in this pack that I'm kind of searching for. So I'm pulling out other things as I go, but I know that I want this little laptop because I just think putting the little laptop with him sitting in my work chair will be perfect. So I know that that's going to go on there. And then there's all these little tabs for the days of the week. So I am going to pull out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So kind of like the work week. And we're going to use those to do a little bit more embellishing on this layout. So I've got my little laptop in there. I've got this little circle. I'm going to throw that on some foam. And then I pulled a couple other little die cuts that I can kind of line up along this left-hand side of my layout. And that is a design that I have been using really frequently lately because I just love the way it looks. So having like a bold horizontal and then having a vertical line that has a bunch of embellishing to it has just kind of been my jam lately. And so if you've been watching me over on Facebook, you've seen me kind of go play around with something similar a couple of times because I'm just really liking how that feels lately. So I'm going to go ahead and make all of these little days of the week, and we're just going to tuck them in at the top of our photos, and they end up perfectly to go all the way over to the coffee cup, which is like a happy little accident how it worked out that way. Because I love when I can kind of make my embellishments work with the spaces that I naturally have on my layout. And trust me when I say it doesn't always work that way. So now I'm going to go ahead and work on that title element. And like I said, I know I wanted it to say CE and then Oreo, but I end up putting the O in because the size difference between the letters, I don't know, it just something felt like I needed to have the O twice. So we have CEO, and then I'm going to switch to a black font, and we're going to put Oreo in that black font instead. And this is where you can see I was trying to leave out the other O, and it just, I don't know, it just didn't work. So then I tried to layer them up, and I was like, you know what, I just need to put the whole thing. So don't be afraid to change it up as you go, because there's no rules, and sometimes you just have to go for it. So I have my little CEO Oreo, and then I'm going to take these little black foam pieces that are like little asterisks and kind of scatter them throughout the layout just because it adds in a little bit of that element of black detailing, and you know how much I love that on my layouts. So we've got it going on in the horizontal and in the vertical. I have one up there by my title, and then off screen I'm going to go ahead and take care of the journaling on the bottom, and I'm going to write it in the same format as that children's book. So this is really where I get that inspiration from the children's book, where it's talking about, like, it's Oreo's perspective. Like, I start the day out on doing all of this computer work, and then I have to wrap the gifts in tissue paper, but it's so much more fun to shred it. And lastly, I have to wrap things in bubble wrap to keep them safe. And then at the end, it's like, whew, this is certainly a lot of work. So that's kind of how I go through the journaling. I even kept my color palette kind of similar to Charlie the Ranch Dog, which was our book inspiration this time. So hopefully you enjoyed my take on this new series. I can't wait to come back and show you more layouts inspired by children's books. Bye, guys.